and welcome to Chant A Psalm A. This is Friday. Happy Friday, everyone. February 9th. We celebrated Bob Marley's birthday a couple days ago. So I want to, and this is my niece's birthday, Minaya Evans. Shout out to you. Happy birthday, Minaya. Um, and I am just getting up. It is about a little bit after 6 in the rise. I'm kind of late this rise. However, I wanted to get the psalm going because today the psalm is short. It's 7 verses. It is Psalm 14. If you wanted to look at Psalm number 9 for today, it's entitled, I Will Recount Your Wonderful Works. So, Psalm 9 or Psalm 14. I'm going to look at Psalm 14 today. And our word of the day today. Um, let's see what our word of the day. I should have looked that up already. Um, but the word of the day is always important to add to this chant a psalm a day, so you can have that reinforcement. So I just pause for a minute, but it reinforces the psalm. So we are going to bubble up our psalm today, Psalm 130. Well, what am I saying? Psalm 132 was yesterday. This is Psalm number 14. So the 14 is the psalm for today. So let's get serious here. Okay, Psalm number 14. The fool says, there is no Jah. There is no Selassie the first. There is no Most High. There is no Almighty. There is no God. There's none of it. The fool says this. Okay? The fool says this. So let's dive into the psalm. The fool says there is no God. This is to the choir master of David. So this is David's song that he is chanting to the choir master, and I'm freezing. It is cold. I'm out of my comfort zone of the warmth here. So we're gonna try this and unpack this. I ask that my words and my meditation are acceptable in the sight of the Most High, and that you receive this word today, that it will uplift you, it will take you out of bondage, mental bondage, because the word has been infiltrated in this way. I don't use pronouns, so I put the word in that is supposed to be there instead of the pronoun. When I taught my first son, how to read, I did not use pronouns. I taught him to read without them. So we would take them out. You could look at children's books of mine and there's words crossed out. But I have my hot tea. It is Friday. I have class today. They're having a quiz. It's called a Friday Find Out. Let's find out what you've learned these 2 days. You're supposed to be reading in the textbook, and that Friday Find Out quiz is going to tell me if you are on task and reading. So we're going to do that today in class. Also, just a few housekeeping notes. Those of you who are leaving comments, please post a comment. Please subscribe to this channel, and you will get notifications of when I am live. So subscribe. I'm going to hunt you down to subscribe. Okay. So let's get started. This psalm really kind of gets me every time I read it. It's, talking about the fool, the foolish. So we're going to define what fool is. It's a person who acts unwisely or imprudently, a silly person. So let's look at what imprudently means. Imprudently. Imprudently is not showing care for the consequences of an action. So imprudent. This is how it's pronounced.
Imprudent.
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 Imprudent. So you learned a word today, right? In the psalm, chanting a psalm a day, I usually like to define some of the words that we find in the psalm so that it'll give you will reference a word that is similar to that word in meaning, and then you can, have a new word. So our new word we learned is imprudent.
Imprudent. Imprudent.
Imprudent. And that means not showing care for the consequences of an action. Okay? You're being rash. You're not showing, you don't care. Basically, that's the foolish. So when we look at the word foolish, it's a person who is imprudent. Okay? It's a person who is a silly person or acts on they're not wise, they're not acting wisely. Okay, that is what a fool is. You're not acting. I'm not talking about anybody out there, buddy. I'm not talking about anybody out there. I'm defining what a fool is, and in definition, a fool is a person who acts unwisely or imprudently, a silly person. Okay, so this is what the psalm is titled today. The fool says there is no God. There is no righteousness. There's no goodness and kindness. Because when we define what God is, Jah, Rastafari, head creator, that is the head, that is the creator of us all. So that creator is love. Love was the force that made, human beings in the image of that love. So because of that, we are looking at this psalm defining what the fool and what God is. So God is love, God is kindness, compassion, mercy. I've said it over and over in my psalms. This is what and who God is. So let's dive into Psalm 14. The fool says there is no God. What is the fool talking about? Verse number 1. The fool says in his heart, there is no God. End quote. They are corrupt. They meaning the fools. The fools do abominable deeds. There is none who does good. So what is abominable? I've heard of the abominable snowman when I was little growing up watching abominable is causing moral revulsion. That's what abominable is. Causing moral revulsion. And what is revulsion? Revulsion is a sense of disgust and loathing. This is getting really kind of So when we look at abominable, it's not good. Okay, the works of the fool is corruption, and it's not good. We know that the word Babylon means confusion, and it's a system of confusion. We have educated fools. So when we talk about the foolish, the fool, we have some fools that are educated. Now, mind you, I have 5 degrees, associates, bachelor's, 2 masters, and a PhD. And I'm educated. However, I try not to be foolish. I try not to be corrupt. I try not to be abominable, doing abominable works. This is why I'm educated, but I'm not a fool. But there's some who are educated, but they are taking on corruption, foolish behaviors, abominable works, and they don't have a knowledge or a cognizant awareness of the Most High as the head creator. And according to Psalm 14 in verse 1, there is none who does good. So Psalm 14 really kind of runs, it jumps out the gate with talking about the foolish. So let's look at Psalm 2. What does it speak of in Psalm 2? The Most High looks from the isle place, sits high and looks low. It says it looks down from heaven on the children of man to see whether, to see the children of man who are standing firm, who seek after the Most High. Okay? Now, when you talk about standing firm and seeking after the Most High, you have to be reading. You have to be reading. You have to be in the Word. You have to be, elevating your mind. And the Most High is checking out what's happening from on high, that the children of man, they are not standing firm. They're playing video games. They're shooting and killing each other in the streets. They are, instead of picking up a book, they're sitting home all day playing a video game that is going into their minds. So the Most High is seeing that. Believe that or not, the Most High is seeing the children and what they are doing. That's why Peter Tosh always says, tell the children the truth. Tell them the truth. Because the truth is, those video games are poisonous to your mind. You become addicted to playing them. And now your mind is no longer usable. Okay? You're become corrupt. You're doing abominable works. These works that are just, what are they producing? You're not producing anything. You can make excuses all day long. Video games help you to do whatever, to do this, to do that. It's not helping you do squatto. So the Most High is looking from the isle place. We talked about Zion, this chosen place, this happy place, this good place, and looks at the children of man to see if there were any that are standing firm and seeking after the Most High. Let's read Psalm 14. This is Psalm 14, verse 3. The fool have all turned aside. Together the fools have become corrupt. There is none that does good, not even uno, not even one. They've all turned aside. Everybody is playing video game. Everybody's going to the casino. Everybody is, doing all these other things except for seeking after the Most High. You're not going to find the Most High in the casino. You're not going to find the Most High in the strip club. You're not going to find the Most High in these places. So the psalm we read yesterday talks about the dwelling place of the Most High. It's beautiful, kind. People are clothed with righteousness. In the strip club, they're naked. Okay? It's a low level. Okay? It's a low level. So when this psalm is talking about the fool, I'm going hard. I'm going all in on this. So if you feel a way about this and you feel I'm talking about you, then it's something that's hitting you that you need to fix. You need to look at seriously. Because are you reading a book? Why is it that we as Black people don't read? Why is that? We have to start reading. Frederick Douglass, he was not allowed to learn to read. What he had to do, he had to pay a white boys to teach him how to read. He had to pay them. Okay, he saved up his money and paid them. Now we have the opportunity to do it, and we don't. We are sucked into all the trappings that has been created by this system of Babylon that has infiltrated the word, the language, the school, the healthcare, all of these places. And it's a confusion. So in verse 1 and 2, they're separated. Verse 1 is by itself. Verse 2 is by itself. It's hitting hard. So in verse 3, what has happened to the fool? They've turned aside, they've come together and become corrupt. There is none that does good, not even one, right? Verse 4 now is asking a question like, duh, what is happening? Have the fools no knowledge? No cognizant awareness? That's what knowledge is. It's cognizant awareness, all right? And the question in verse 4 in this psalm is asking, don't they know? Don't they have awareness? All the evildoers who eat up people as the evildoers eat their bread and do not call upon the Most High? It's a question. It's a question. So let's see in verse 5 if it's answered. If it's answered. Verse 5, this is Psalm 14 for those who just joining us. It is called "The Fool Says There Is No God." So in verse 5, what is going to happen to the fools? The question was asked in verse 4, have the fools no knowledge? All the evildoers who eat up the people, people, like they're eating bread and they don't call upon the Most High? What is going to happen? In verse 5, it says it. There the fools are. I don't use they or them. They or them, he, she, her, him, shim, whatever. No pronouns are allowed when we are translating the psalm. Okay? So we talk about in verse 5, the psalm is talking about what is going to happen to the fools. The fool is going to be in great terror, for God is with the generation of the righteous. Remember, the fool has done abominable things. They don't have any awareness. They don't care about what they're doing. That is a fool, right? And what is going to happen? They're going to be in great terror. For the Most High is with the generation of the righteous. And how do we define righteousness? We define that as goodness, love, kindness, compassion. Have a compassion on folks. That is part of righteousness. Let's take the word righteousness and find all the words that are showing that operational definition of righteousness. So in verse 6, the psalm is speaking of what the Most High is going to do. Okay? What the Most High is going to do. You, and who is you? The Most High would shame the plans of the poor. Only the Most High is the poor's refuge. So the Most High would shame the plans of the poor. However, the Most High is the poor's refuge, is the poor's safety. Those who are poor in righteousness, they lack that righteousness, right? The Most High is their safety. Okay? Those who are lacking in financial, means, that is the safety. Not robbing a bank to, have financial security, but looking and trusting in that Most High, that safety. That is your safe place. So when we look at verse 7, this is the end of the psalm, verse 7. And this is Psalm 14 for those who just joined us. Psalm 14, and it is verse 7. So it starts off with, oh, that salvation for Israel. Now I take out Israel and I put I and I. Okay, Israel is nation. Remember, the Bible was written to to build a nation of white supremacy. Black folks was only in the Bible as in, slaves with a master. That's it. They use that and push that. However, when we look at the translation of these scriptures, I know that Ethiopia is the place that the Most High's dwelling place that loves to be, right? And when we take Israel, we know that one of the individuals' name was changed to Israel, and then it just, I have to study more about that piece in terms of how the name changes in the scriptures with Abram and Abraham, Sarai and Sarah. Sarai was Sarai, and then when she got the revelation of what the Most High has done for her, her name got changed to Sarah. So we have some name changes in the scriptures. So when we talk about Israel, I take that out and I put an I and I. Oh, that salvation for I and I, or for that, or that place would come out of Zion. Okay, Zion and Israel kind of go hand in hand in terms of the scripture and who it represents. So the salvation for I and I would come out of happiness, compassion. That is what Zion represents. When the Most High restores the fortunes of the Most High's people, remember that the Most High is with the generation of the righteous. Okay? So don't think that because you're doing the right thing, everybody around you is doing the wrong thing. Don't feel alone. That is power. You are not alone. You are on the side of the Most High. Okay? Because the Most High is with the generation of the righteous. The righteous is the one who seek after the Most High, who seek after the Most High. They're not on a video game playing, they're reading the Bible. They're not out there slinging, smoking weed, and laying around doing nothing. They're producers. This is what the generation of the righteous are doing. They're doing good works. Okay. However, when you look at the corrupt and the fool, that's what they're doing. They don't care. They sit down there, they smoke weed all day, and they don't care. They don't care to clean up around them. We talked about the cleanly place and the dwelling place as a clean place, and how I seek to have a place where I can prepare a place for the Lord. So when the Lord, when the Most High comes into my place, there's no debtors. There's no dead deli meats in the fridge. There's no chicken eggs. There's none of that. There is just life. There is food that is growing from the earth that's green, beans. There's food that is sustaining, because man cannot live by bread alone. You can't live by food alone. And what am I going to eat? I want a big steak dinner. And you can't live by food alone, but by every word that comes out of the mouth of the Most High through the Psalms, through the scriptures. If you want to find out about Israel and Jacob, read. You want to find out about Moses and the burning bush, read. Okay? And translate it as I have been directing you to do. And it'll give you more meaning. Pieces by pieces by pieces. There's going to come a time when the Bible going to be, they're going to ban the Bible. You see how they're banning books, right? They're going to ban the Bible and use a justification that it's making the people crazy. So when that time, God forbids, Jah forbid, that happens, when the banning the Bible, you need to start memorizing these Psalms. Psalm 14, the fool says there is no God. You should know what that Psalm 14 is speaking of, so that you can then be able to speak it to the next generation. Okay? The generation of the righteous, the generation that are standing firm and seeking after the Most High, and not after their phone. They're in their phone 24/7 a day. Get out your phone. Are you reading the Bible app? No, probably not. Playing a game? Okay. That's the foolish. They're playing games. They don't care. So when we look at the final verse 7, that the salvation For I will come out of this happy place of that's referred to as Zion when the Most High restores the fortunes of the Most High's people. Let Jacob rejoice, let I be glad. So we're going to be glad when these fortunes of I are restored. Okay? That's why I have to keep on the righteous path. And that's probably why I'm alone right now in my own space, because I need to build that armor of the Most High, that ammunition to get ready to fight as David fought Goliath, because I am fighting a big, huge Goliath trying to take, ancestral lands away. Like, wait a minute. Wait a second. So I'm not alone in this fight. I have my ancestors that I'm standing on their shoulders. Yes, indeed. The Most High has given, and just like the Most High speaks, that the Most High is going to judge the living and the dead, right? Those who have passed on still have to be held in judgment, right? Only the righteous will stand in it, but the wicked is going to fall in that judgment. So stick close to that you call righteousness and love and goodness. Okay? The word of the day today is trust. Trust. That is the word of the day. So let's shift into the word of the day, trust. The psalm of the day, the fool says there is no Most High. The righteous need to trust. Stick in the trust no matter what. Trust that you will be restored, that the fortunes of your ancestral lands will be restored. Trust in the Most High, because we cannot fight this battle of piracy alone, especially on an island so tiny like St. John, Virgin Islands, where I'm from and where my ancestral land is located, where this time in the life that I'm living, it's a battle, and I realize it now. In my 20s, I didn't, and I wish I did, because maybe I would have been further along. However, we are on a path, a learning journey. Don't beat ourselves up for not having or knowing what we know today that we didn't know yesterday. We are learning, and that's why we are lifelong learners. So let's get into the word trust. In all circumstances, I trust in the Most High. Bless that my words and my meditation for the word of the day is acceptable to the Most High, and that you all out there listening can be impacted positively by this word of the day. Trust. Trust. Who do you trust? Who do you really trust? Do you trust your friends, your family, other human beings, your coworkers, your supervisor, your children? Who do you trust? In all circumstances, I trust in the Most High. And let's read this word of the day. It's from dailyword.com, published by Unity. They're celebrating 100 years, 1924 to 2024. Go and subscribe to dailyword.com, and you can get the word of the day every day sent to you. So, Friday, February 9th, the word of the day, trust. When I chant Isis, I know deep in I heart, I communicating with the Most High. I trust no matter what is happening in the world or in I life, I always blessed. Jah, the one presence and power, is in all, through all, and as all. I trust in Jah now and always. Trusting in the righteousness of the Most High is as trusting the sun will rise. Trusting the waves of the ocean will reach their sandy shores as the tide ebbs and flows. Or trusting a nearby tree will provide shade. Faith is more than simply believing something is possible. Faith is cognizantly aware that truth is already a reality. I greet each day with a sure knowledge, trusting in the absolute goodness of Jah, Rastafari, head creator. I am truly blessed in my goody, my mind, and life as I go about what is mine to do with positive expectancy. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and do not rely on your own insight. Proverbs verse 5. Proverbs 3 verse 5 supports the word of the day, trust. 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 So that is our word of the day, trust. And I trust that you all will have a joyful day. I trust that you will go out there and know that you are not a fool, okay? Because a fool does not know the righteousness of the Most High. Don't be a fool and don't be foolish, all right? Go out there in love and kindness. Thanks for joining me on Chant A Psalm A Day. This has been Psalm number 14. And Psalm number 14, the fool says there is no God. And the word of the day, trust. Trust that there is a Most High. Give thanks. Thank you. Selah and Selah again. Here ends the word of the day, trust, and Chant A Psalm A Day. Selah and Selah again. For those of you just joining, I have just finished the Psalm 14 and the word of the day, trust. I trust that you can replay this again and from the beginning so you can hear what you missed. Have a blessed, beautiful Friday, everyone, and stay tuned for Chant A Psalm A Day, Saturday, Sunday, and as long as the Most High gives life to this goody. Selah and Selah again.